Hi, I'm Debbie Jenkins-Frankel, and I wanted to come on really quick and just talk about disenfranchised grief. It's a term that Dr. Kenneth Doka had is credited for starting many years ago. It's about grief that's unacknowledged, that is not publicly mourned, that's invalidated or unheard. It's about losses that are minimized or misunderstood. Which actually really increases the griever's sense of isolation. And so then it makes it much more difficult to process and to be able to work through. So here's some examples of disenfranchised grief, really basically losses that result in disenfranchised grief. And so suicide loss, drug overdose, those are two really, really big examples of losses that a lot of grievers don't get a whole lot of support for because they end up feeling judged or misunderstood, or that they're blaming themselves, or they assume that somebody else is blaming them, or that people are just uncomfortable and they start changing the subject. Homicide loss. What about historical unresolved grief? I'm thinking about, all of the losses that people are shouting for attention, for validation and for acknowledgement. That's what I was looking for. All the losses of safety and loss of trust, which is what Black Lives Matter is shouting about. Is part of what they're shouting about. Loss of lives and the insanity of that. And so think about those historic unresolved grief. Okay? Think about losses in the LGBTQ community, how much that they are unacknowledged. Think about examples of infertility, a miscarriage, a pregnancy loss. Those are losses that are not usually publicly mourned. We don't usually have a funeral for it. And by the way, thinking about funerals and public mourning is that all of that is completely different these days in pandemic. Okay? So here's another example of a loss that often gets minimized or is misunderstood is chronic illness or chronic pain. And there's an enormous amount of grief in a loss of health, that the person's body does not work the way that it used to be or how it's supposed to. So just those are a few examples. And please jump in and put in your comments about examples that you would like to add that are losses that are often overlooked. I wanted to bring this up because I want to be able to encourage you to start asking your clients about what are losses that they've had that have tended to be minimized or misunderstood, or perhaps that they have minimized it as well. So anyway, tell me what you think, and I'd love to hear from you, and I hope that you take good care. Bye-bye.